November 11th, 1918. At exactly 11 a.m., the guns finally fell silent across the Western Front after 4 years of unprecedented carnage. Over 16 million people were dead. Entire empires had collapsed, and the world thought they had witnessed the worst humanity could offer. They called it the Great War. World War I ended because Germany and the Central Powers could no longer continue fighting both militarily and economically. At 5 a.m. on November 11th, 1918, Germany signed the Armistice of Compiègne in a railway car in France. At 11 a.m., the fighting officially stopped. The moment remembered as Armistice Day or Veterans Day today. Church bells are ringing across Europe, soldiers are throwing their helmets in the air, and crowds are dancing in the streets, celebrating the end of the Great War. But while everyone was focused on the armistice, a silent killer was spreading faster than any army ever could. Another invisible war began, a war deadlier than any battle. The deadliest pandemic in human history was reaching its peak. The Spanish flu swept across the globe, killing more than 50 million people. And it happened right as the war was ending. One of the first registered cases was Albert Gitchell, a U.S. Army cook at Camp Funston in Kansas, who was hospitalized with a 104-degree fever. The virus spread quickly through the Army installation, home to 54,000 troops. By the end of the month, 1,100 troops had been hospitalized, and 38 had died after developing pneumonia. As U.S. troops deployed en masse for the war effort in Europe, they carried the Spanish flu with them. Throughout April and May of 1918, the virus spread like wildfire through England, France, Spain, and Italy. An estimated 3/4 of the French military was infected in the spring of 1918, and as many as half of British troops. Interestingly, Spain was neutral during World War I, and unlike its European neighbors, it didn't impose wartime censorship on its press. In France, England, and the United States, newspapers weren't allowed to report on anything that could harm the war effort, including news that a crippling virus was sweeping through troops. Since Spanish journalists were some of the only ones reporting on a widespread flu outbreak in the spring of 1918, the pandemic became known as the Spanish flu.